What's up, Red Wings fans? Welcome to another edition of the Forecheck, live from Little Caesars Arena. Today's show is presented by Athletico Physical Therapy. I'm Daniella Bruce, as always, joined by Kal. Ken, we're about 24 hours out from the trade deadline yesterday, and the Red Wings were pretty active.
Yeah, what a busy day for every team in the National Hockey League, including the Detroit Red Wings. So Red Wings made a few moves, and hopefully it will benefit them down the road.
Looking at those moves, the Red Wings moved on Andreas Athanasiou and Ryan Kuffner and Mike Green, all to the Edmonton Oilers. And we received a couple of second-round picks for Andreas Athanasiou and Sam Gagner. And then we've got Kyle Brodziak and a conditional draft pick for Mike Green. That conditional draft pick could either be correct me if I'm wrong, Ken, a third round this year or a fourth round next year?
Yeah, that's right. And, that's all that the Red Wings are looking for right now is to build for the future and try to pick up as many draft choices as possible. And I know when Steve Yzerman was talking to the media yesterday, you can't always hit on every pick that you have. So the more picks you have, the better opportunity you have to, nab a player that could make it in the NHL.
And Ken, what did you think about the trades being with former Red Wings general manager Ken Holland? Obviously, he knows these players probably even better than Steve Yzerman does.
Well, they're all in right now, no doubt about it. And they want to win the Stanley Cup, and what a race it is in the Pacific Division. So, when you're the Edmonton Oilers, you want to try and win as many games as possible, and you want to try and outlast the Vegas Golden Knights and everybody else that's in that race out there. But, Athanasiou is really going to do well. I think he's going to fit in well with the Edmonton Oilers. He has a lot of speed. If he teams up with Connor McDavid and maybe Leon Draisaitl, what a power play that would be. They can all score and put the puck in the net. So I expect good things from Andreas Athanasiou in Edmonton. But again, I don't think that he was a part of the future here in Detroit. And sometimes you got to give up a player to look ahead in the future.
Looking at the other players on the team, it's obviously always a bummer to say goodbye to a friend and a teammate, but this does bring some new opportunity for some of the guys on the Red Wings roster. Carly Johnston was in the locker room this morning after morning skate.
Thanks, Daniela. Carly Johnston here in the locker room after morning skate. Following a very busy day yesterday with the trade deadline, the Detroit Red Wings were active in trading players and acquiring free agents, in the process saying goodbye to Mike Green and Andreas Athanasiou. A new face we saw in the locker room this morning, Cody Golobuff will be making his Detroit Red Wings debut tonight in this game against the New Jersey Devils. With some injuries and some trades, you have the opportunity to play on the top line defensively. What's that like for you?
Yeah, it's huge. I think, it's obviously tough to see guys go, like Greeny, and guys get injured. But I think, in this year for us, I think it's all about building and what can we all do individually to make our team better, not only now but in the future. And I think that's one thing that I've been working on a lot, and having that opportunity to play those minutes goes a long way in my game, my confidence, and just knowing what it takes to play in this league every day. And that's something that I've learned a lot this year, and I'm keep building off of.
When you come to a team that's in the position the Wings are in, and obviously there are jobs to be had, is that, a good opportunity for you?
Yeah, I think anytime you step on the ice, no matter where you are, you just try and do your best and play as hard as you can, and everybody's looking for jobs everywhere, no matter what position any team's in. You're always trying to showcase yourself and do the best you can. So, it's just another opportunity to go out there and do what I can.
Yeah, there's challenges when you integrate that many different players, just trying to get everybody playing on the same page. So one of the things we got to do, Cody hasn't even had a practice yet. So, I contemplated not dressing him just to give him a practice, but in the end he's gonna dress and he'll play a little bit. He won't play a ton yet tonight. He's just got to get his feet wet within our systems and get so he can go out and play without thinking. He's a good all-around player. With the people we've talked to, says he does everything good. And if he can go out there and make good decisions and compete. And get the puck up to our forwards, then he can help us. So it adds to the depth on D, and it adds the competition on D the rest of the way.
Yesterday, Steve Yzerman said these players have a lot to play for still. Their pride and a spot on the roster, so hopefully they can bust out of the gates tonight and get a win against the New Jersey Devils. Back to you, Daniela.
Thank you, Carly. And Ken, she's right. There's still a lot to play for this Red Wings team. But let's talk about the two guys that we picked up off of waivers. So it looks like Cody Golobuff will be in the lineup tonight. Blashill said just a little bit of playing time for him since he hasn't practiced yet. And then Dmytro Timashov is from the Maple Leafs. And he is the one that I think has a little more interest for the fans just because of the fact that he is really young. He's 23 years old. And he was on a team in Toronto that have a lot of forwards. They're really good. They have depth. So he didn't get the opportunity that people believe he might get here.
I was talking with Dylan Larkin today, Daniela, about Timashov, and he was pretty impressed with the Russian forward. And he's not a very tall guy, but he's a thick guy. He's got a big body, and you need those types of guys that can go into the corners, dig the puck loose, and be a strong force. And maybe he's got that opportunity to do that. And you can't have too little of those players on your team. You want guys like that. They all can't be the same. And as far as Cody Goluboff, here's a guy that's been well-traveled around the National Hockey League. He has a ton of experience. He's 30 years old. He's played with teams like the Avalanche and some of their better players. He's coming over from Ottawa. I remember him as a rugged defenseman with the Columbus Blue Jackets. So you never know what you're going to get. But again, this is a feeling-out process for the Red Wings. And, it's with 18 games to go. Let's see what these guys can do. And I think that's the feeling from management right now.
And Ken, Steve Yzerman has made it pretty evident that he wants to build through the draft and build with young players, and Timashov might be one of them, those young guys. And there's a whole group of young guys down in Grand Rapids that Red Wings fans really would like to see up here, and I know that would be very exciting for all of us, actually. But Steve Yzerman had something to say about that scenario.
There's also valid reasons for just leaving them where they are and letting them do their thing, So take it all into account, and if it comes a time we have to make a decision, we will. But right now, again, all those kids are doing really well. They're playing a lot of minutes and in significant roles, and they're in a dogfight to make the playoffs. And we want that team to make the playoffs. There's a lot of value in everyone in there playing in the playoffs.
And Ken, you heard him there. Obviously, it's a big deal for those guys to play in the playoffs in Grand Rapids. And the two that I think of specifically that I personally would like to see play with the Red Wings this season would be Moritz Seider and Joe Veleno.
Absolutely. I think the fans here in Detroit would also like to see those two players play as well. But what's important is the development of those young players, Daniela. And the best experience that you can get as a young player is playing in the playoffs. And you play in all different types of situations. You know what pressure's all about. And that's only going to help their experience and their development. So as much as we want to see Seider and Veleno and company up here, sometimes you have to look ahead to next year and make sure they get that playoff experience.
Yeah, playing in the playoffs in the AHL is just as important, I would say, for a player's development as, those guys would probably only play 9 games up here.
And again, when the Red Wings do make the playoffs down the road, all of a sudden, they're not black aces anymore. They're going to come in and they're going to know what it's like to be in pressure-filled hockey games. And if you know what you're doing and it just doesn't bother you, of course, the NHL is a little bit different in the playoffs. But again, it's all about playing under pressure, and this is great experience for the guys.
And Ken, tonight we've got the New Jersey Devils in town, and they, at the trade deadline yesterday, were very active as well, seemed to be sellers, kind of like the Red Wings. And what did you really think about their situation? This is a New Jersey team that you may have expected to be better than they are.
I guess I'm surprised with some of their moves, especially a guy like Wayne Simmons. And, the Devils aren't going to make the playoffs, but, you look at Wayne Simmons, and this is the second year in a row that he's been traded at the trade deadline. He's going to the Buffalo Sabres, and I don't even know if the Buffalo Sabres are going to make the playoffs this year. But Sami Vatanen is a really good defenseman. They got him from the Anaheim Ducks a while ago, and Louis Domingue is a goaltender that's been around the league knocking on the door. So, just a little... I guess they made some moves because you have to make some moves, but kind of puzzled me a little bit.
Going back to Wayne Simmons, all they got was a 5th-round pick for him, and I was kind of surprised at that part. Maybe if the trade was really valuable and they got a 1st or 2nd-round pick out of it, maybe even a 3rd, but a 5th seems like it was pretty low for his value.
And the other thing, too, is with Wayne Simmons, they retained part of his salary, and this is the last year of his contract, so obviously he wants to stay in the league next year, and he's going to have to sign another deal. But, if you're going to spend the money and retain his numbers there, why not keep him?
Well, like we said, we've got New Jersey in town tonight. Both teams playing their first game since the trade deadline, so they've got some new faces, and they're saying goodbye to some of their teammates. But there are some familiar faces on the New Jersey Devils, and Kyle Palmieri, Nico Hischier, and of course, they've got Nikita Gusev as too. So they are still going to be a really big challenge for the Red Wings. And, this is a game that you would like to see the Red Wings kind of bounce back in.
Yeah, and it's been a tough ride for the Red Wings. So the Devils have won 2 games against Detroit this year. But, Palmieri's been around the league for a little bit. He's played with the Anaheim Ducks, and he's one of those guys, a go-to guy up front for the New Jersey Devils. Nikita Gusev, he's a little bit older player, but he's having a pretty good season, always dangerous. And Hischier's a former #1 draft choice, 1st overall for the Devils. And, he's trying to find his way, just like Jack Hughes.
Yeah.
And Hughes has 20 points this season for the Devils. And I always wondered, like, would it be better for Jack Hughes to go and play 1 year at college and then come in, kind of like what Dylan Larkin did? He'd be a little bit of a stronger player, but sometimes when you're a first pick overall, they want to see what you can do and jump right into the National Hockey League. And so far, Jack Hughes has struggled a little bit point-wise, but it's a great learning experience for him.
And these two teams, Ken, as you mentioned, they're not playoff contenders for the upcoming NHL playoffs. What are you expecting out of tonight's matchup?
Well, again, it's all about what we're going to see the rest of the way for the Red Wings, and there's a lot to play for, and those are some of the things that we've talked about in our past shows here on the Forecheck. And players are playing for salaries and contracts next year, and management wants to see what they can do down the road. I'm hoping for a good show from all these guys the rest of the way, and I think the fans are looking forward to that as well.
Exactly. It's a lot to play for, so you guys should still be coming down to Little Caesars Arena as we round out this season. And if you guys are coming tonight, check this out. It's a cereal bowl that you are going to get as a giveaway. Ken, what kind of cereal do you eat?
Back in the day, I used to like Frosted Flakes. That was
Frosted
pretty good.
Flakes.
Lots of sugar on there.
Tony the Tiger, that was a Frosted
And
Flake,
Cinnamon
right?
Toast Crunch was
Yeah,
good,
that
too.
was a good one. I was a Reese's Puffs person, but you can eat any kind of cereal out of this thing, so you should get down here early if you are coming to the game tonight. If not, you can catch the broadcast on Fox Sports Detroit, or of course tune in to 97.1 The Ticket and listen to your very own Ken Kal.
Thanks. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it too.
Yeah.
It's season's winding down, 18 games to go. 9 or 10 home games left?
Yeah, not very many, so you guys better get down here. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.